Hello, whoever is watching. My name is Colton Hibbert, and I wanted to showcase a project that I built. It's a full stack web application called MyOutdoorTrails. This is a project that I came up with on my own and wanted to talk about the technologies that I use and how the app functions and go over the features and also some of the code. So this application is actually something that came up with on my own. I found a few other hiking websites that I liked, and I actually kind of made my own version of it, and utilized a couple of different APIs, two different APIs. One was Mapbox, and the other one was the REI Hiking Project API, and I used a couple different technologies for the front end. I used React to display on my UI. I also use Redux for my state management. On the back end, I utilize Node.js and the Express framework for my server. And I also have a database that I created with a couple of tables. I used Postgres, and I'm also using the Connects library. Basically, is like an ORM. It allows you to write SQL queries with JavaScript library, which is really nice. So just how the app functions. Just to start off here, basically what it'll allow you to do is allow you to pull up a list of trails in a specific area based on where you search. So let me go ahead and let's type in Salt Lake City, Utah, where I'm from. And basically what happens is when you click that search bar there, and you hit the search request, what it's going to do is it's actually going to send basically a request to Mapbox. And so with this location, what it's going to do is it's going to pull up basically a latitude and longitude for that. And that's again done with a fetch request, the fetch API. So I'm using HTTP to send that request, and then that request, I get the response back. I get the latitude and the longitude, and I actually forward those over to the backend and on my Node server. And on the Node server, there's actually a controller that's listening for that request, and it says, "Oh hey, got that request, got the latitude and longitude." And then I send that over to the hiking project API, and that's necessary just for security reasons to do it that way, because I have a private key that I have to use. So I have to send the request first to the back end. Then I say, hey, give me a list of 10 hikes near that latitude and longitude, and that's what will pull up all this information. And then got basic things like length, rating, ascent. Can just go through some different things here, and then you can actually zoom in and you can actually see the actual trails come up for most of these locations. I'll actually pull up the actual trails, and then you can go on a hike. A few other things that I have added, I got a featured hike section and just kind of a few, the more popular hikes that you can check out. That I got a login and a sign up, and I utilized bcrypt for that to hash the passwords and store them securely on the back end. And so something else that this will do as well is, when the app initially loads, it'll pull up, I have it set right now to pull a list of hikes in Denver, but that's what the component did mount with React, so I used that lifecycle method to, load all that stuff up initially. And then if I want to type in somewhere else, let's say like St. George, I have a component did update. Gotta probably zoom out here so we can actually see the hikes. But I have a component did update, and what that will do is it will basically, refresh. Obviously, you guys saw it kind of zoomed in there to a new area, and then it'll bring up those hikes. So let's see here. There we go. Okay, now it's loading up here. Okay, yeah. So we got Angel's Landing. The narrows, bottom up, that's a really fun one. I've done that. But that's the gist for how how it works. And in regards to the login and sign up, I've got a login right here and then a sign up right here. And then it will save the queries for different locations that you're searching for. All that information will get stored in the database, as well as like the user information. And again, I use a couple of different tables to do that. So just pulling up the code. Let's pull up the just the front end code here and take a look at that. And I got a source folder here, index.js. This is where the app lives. I am using again Redux and React, so I have a couple different things that I'm importing to make that happen. And I also am using Thunk, which allows you to apply asynchronous actions to Redux, which normally you can't do, but with Thunk you can, which is really, really nice because I need to be able to do that to perform asynchronous actions when I'm sending my requests back and forth, so the user has a good experience. And here I'm wrapping my app component with this provider, and that will let me pass down the store, my Redux store. So pulling up containers, I have two main containers that I use. I have the main app, and then I also have another container called map.js, which is the actual map itself. And I decided to split that up so I could kind of split up the state, just because it seemed like kind of a lot to have just on the app. I have a lot of functional components that I'm bringing in. Right here you can see all those functional components I'm bringing in, and those are just to render, and they do like I got a search, the navigation, all that stuff. And right here I'm importing my actions, and then because I'm using Redux with React, it requires you to map your state and your props, so that you can pass your state down as props. And basically, React is constantly listening when you do this. And so when you have a change in the state, it lets the actual UI know, hey, the state changed, let's re-render the UI. And so right here I have an update dimensions little function that I added. It uses a debounce method just so when you resize the screen, it just does it in a smooth manner for the media queries. It is completely mobile responsive, so it looks good whether it's mobile view or desktop or whatever. Then I got a lot of different components using some ternary logic to split all that up, and then got another map container right there, and then I'm passing in actions, I'm passing in props to these fields and stuff. So let's pull up map. So this is where the map box information lives. I got a public key right here. This is cool to be there. And then got a latitude and longitude as well as the trails array. Those are really the important pieces of information. Pulling up the map information, the component did mount, and then we're going to load it with hikes. And on the component did update, this will basically when we type in a new location, it's going to re-render and redisplay the list of hikes in the new area that we're looking for. So that's the gist of that code there. Got a few different things in my services. I got some actions, got a reducers, basic. Got an initial state that I load up, and then it's doing different things with the state. So I'll change the state depending on what type of an action I send in, and I might actually update multiple pieces of the state at the same time. It's more efficient to do it that way. And then let's actually pull up the actions. And so most of these actions are just regular actions, to submit something to the store, the Redux store. And then they got a payload. But I also decided to split my logic up to where I have some of these actions are actually just functions that do different things. And a lot of the times they will actually update the store inside the function. And like right here, this will submit the search field information. So it basically saves a list of all the different locations that you've searched as a user. Sign up, log in, got a forward geocoding that's important to do, and then right here I got this API functions, which basically handles the back and forth of the APIs, because I have to send the request multiple times, and so that is asynchronous, and so that'll happen. So we got async, we got an await right here, so we're going to do this fetch call, and then we're going to do another one down here. Basically, again here we're going to go and we're going to get basically the latitude and longitude from Mapbox based on what location we typed in. So Salt Lake City, Utah, it's going to pull up a latitude and longitude for that, send it back to us in the front end. Like, cool, we got our latitude and longitude, and then we send that over to the back end with another fetch request. Again, this is asynchronous, and then we're going to see in a minute here on the node server like what that does, but that will allow me to send a request over to the REI Hiking Project API and pull a list of trails and trail information, and then I can redisplay that here on the front end. So that is the gist of the front end code, and let's pull up the node server. Take a look at that bad boy. So I've got a simple server here. A few different things that I'm doing. Got a body parser and some of those other things that you need for a typical Express app. Again, I am using Express for this. Got a few different controllers that I am importing, so a lot of the logic is living in these files here that I'm just bringing in, connecting to my database here. This was just some logging to check that it worked, and then body parser, and I'm doing some other things with that. Handling the different routes. Got a post for sign up, a post for login, post for search field, post for hiking project. So let's pull up. Let's just pull up the hiking project and take a look at that. Yeah, so this will, again, it'll grab the latitude and longitude. We'll send a fetch request with our key, our private key, and then we'll get those trails. And let's take a look at sign up and see how we handled that and all the different things I did to handle the sign up code. I did, again, utilize Postgres database for this, and the connects ORM, which is basically a library that allows you to basically write SQL queries to the database. And I am utilizing correctly some transactions. Basically what that allows me to do is kind of like create like chunks or save points in the code, so that if there's an error when you're submitting information to the database, it doesn't like just store it there, it'll wipe it. It has to be done completely correctly for it to complete a complete transaction. But I'm actually loading into two different tables here, one to users, another to a login table for when they sign up for the app. So that is the kind of the gist of how the backend node server works, and that is my outdoor trails. So thank you for watching. Again, my name is Colton Hibbert.